So, have you guys seen King Arthur? No? Well, check it. We start off in jolly, well, dreary old England, and I do mean old. We got knights, swords, an African-American knight, and giant war elephants. Well, somebody's been marathoning Lord of the Rings recently. Like, come on guys, you're not even trying to hide it. Anyway, Dumbo and his friends are led by Mordred, an evil wizard, or mage as they're called here, who wants to take over Camelot and dethrone King Uther.
Well met.
But what Mordred didn't realize is that Uther has Excalibur, a tier 6 legendary double-handed sword that gives him plus 60 strength, agility, White Walker eyes, immunity to all magic-based effects, and a really cool soundtrack.
Well played.
So, with the villain now dead and Camelot saved, they all lived happily ever after. Roll credits. Right? Nope! The plot goes on with the king's brother Vortigern, hi Jude Law, becoming our new villain, killing off Uther and all the other mages, leaving the king's son Arthur as our new hero. So, what was the point of that entire intro sequence? Well, it looked cool. And to the movie's credit, it does epic shots really well. Too bad it sucks at everything else, but let it not be said that I can't enjoy a good adrenaline rush, so in the spirit of turning off the smart part of your brain in favor of your inner lizard, I'm gonna go fucking A, mate! Whenever something cool happens. Let's see how quickly that gets old. Now back to the story. Before dying, Arthur's parents put him in a boat and he moses his way down to Londinium, which also has the Rome Colosseum in it somehow. Fortunately for him though, he's found and taken in by prostitutes and raised in a brothel. Lucky bastard. We see the kid grow up into Charlie Hunnam, an upstanding citizen that knows the value of hard work, responsibility, and standing up for those in need. Also, gambling, stealing, fighting, street hustling, and female fan service. During this time, Jude Law, yeah, I'm not calling him by that stupid name, has imposed his rule over England. I guess you could say that his word is now law. However, the castle lake suddenly calls it quits and reveals Excalibur stuck in a stone with no one able to pull it out. You know the story, only he who would be worthy may wield the power of blah blah blah. So, Judy calls her BFF Ursula from The Little Mermaid to ask for guidance and vent some frustration.
Why is the water dropped? Why does the sword reveal itself now? I'm not ready. The tower is not complete.
As your power increases, so do the forces that will oppose you. Balance is a law that cannot be transgressed. The born king will come.
Ugh, boring! But since I got The Little Mermaid stuck in my head, might as well do this.
Those poor unfortunate souls.
Woo! That's my jam!
So true.
So true, baby!
They come flocking to my...
Whoa, wait a minute. Did she just say fucking? Oh, they come flocking. Silly me. What was I thinking? It's not like Disney has a history of putting sexual innuendos in their kids' movies, right? Right? Anyway, Hentai Actress of the Year tells him to find and kill Arthur since he is the only one that can pick up the sword, so Judy Boy decrees that all men around Arthur's age are to come to the castle and try to pull the sword out of the stone. Meanwhile, Arthur's brothel gets a surprise inspection from the king's special police, the Blackleg Guards.
Sergeant! What did I tell you about this establishment?
He touched me, sir.
Well, you should count yourself lucky. Most people have to pay for that.
I got nothing, that was just a good line. The Blacklegs are looking for a wanted fugitive that's hiding in the brothel, but our selfless, honorable hero just gives him over. Yeah, that just happened. But in his defense, it was Littlefinger. Fuck that guy. Team Khaleesi for life! However, the Blackleg captain still has some questions for Arthur and his crew.
What's this all about, Jack?
Now tell me a story about a girl called Lucy, a Viking called Greybeard.
Are you writing a book?
Tell me every detail.
I woke up.
Then?
I was at a wine tasting with my cousin Ernesto, and he tells me about this girl, Emily, that we used to kick it with.
She's a good girl.
A nice girl.
She works here.
It was actually the first pair of boobs that I ever touched.
It's the wrong details. It has nothing to do with the story.
Then we heard George had trouble again last night. I meet me out the front.
Which George? King George, Angry George, George the Dragon? Be clear, Arthur, which George?
Our George. Chinese George. Kung Fu George.
George?
We heard he'd had some trouble with the Vikings. They hurt Lucy. My Lucy.
That can't happen, Jack.
That can never happen, Jack.
They've been warned. They had to pay.
How'd you get money from a Viking?
I feel a joke coming on here.
I tracked the bugger down for 3 weeks. 3 weeks of eating nothing but oat biscuits and that black stuff at the tip of bananas. My arms were tired. But I boarded his ship, took down 2 of his cronies, and found him hiding in his chamber, fearful drops of sweat running down his face. He looks at me all terrified. So I pull out my knife, and I lean in to finish the job.
And then I kissed her.
Tongue?
Yeah.
Cool.
If you were unarmed, where'd you find the blade to put to his throat?
Well, I borrowed it from his big silly mate after Backlack put an arrow through his lard love and thigh.
Then I took an arrow in the knee.
Get back! That's your story, Jack. Old Greybeard surrendered his dignity. Lucy got a year's worth of wages. And then they all lived happily ever after.
No, they didn't, Arthur. Because for the first time, there's something you don't know. Something nobody told you.
And that is?
I'm one of the baddest motherfuckers of all time. One of the best singers, one of the best looking motherfuckers you've ever seen. I'm Rick James, bitch. Enjoy yourself.
Nah, actually the Vikings were under the king's protection. Whoops. So, during the night, the guards come looking for Arthur, but he manages to escape. Only to get caught by another group of blacklegs. For f***'s sake. Fortunately, they don't realize who he is, but they do notice that he hasn't been tested yet for syphilis, picking up the sword. So, they take him to the castle where he's goated by... David Beckham? Weird. Arthur walks up to the stone, grabs the sword, and of course, pulls it out in front of everyone. I know that there's a penis joke in there, but this video is already on the edge of that PG-13 rating, and I really don't want to push my luck. Anyway, with his newfound ultimate power, Arthur is going to free the prisoners and lead the fight against Vortig... Or not. I blame Beckham.
Alright, where'd you want me?
Bouncing on my knee.
Oh, you tease. Arthur gets taken prisoner by Law, and they have a heart-to-heart.
You and I have a lot more in common than you think. Also the same interests.
I mean, Game of Thrones, Taylor Swift, and funny cat memes? If Tinder existed, I'd swipe right faster than a bloke on a 6-month dry spill.
What kind of a man would you become had you inherited your father's kingdom and all its advantages?
Well, I've always been fond of starting a motorbike gang. How does the Sons of Anarchy sound? Seems like you're trying too hard. Yeah, that would never catch on.
What gave you such drive?
Do it! Just do it! Don't let your dreams be dreams. What are you waiting for? Do it!
However, Arthur has been gathering quite a fan base. I mean, come on. So Law is going to execute him in front of everyone to prove that his body is the only one who's too sexy for his shirt. He delivers a chilling monologue and god damn can Jude Law give an epic performance.
When people fear you, I mean really fear you, it is the most intoxicating sensation a man can possess. A force of something almost indescribable moves through your blood and takes you over completely.
Fucking A, mate. However, they follow up that awesomeness with the world's worst heckler.
Behold, you're born king. Now tell us, king, what do you have to say?
You suck!
I thought not.
Got him!
Fortunately though, Arthur gets saved by the rebel faction, which apparently have birds, dogs, and horses in their lineup. Yay for equal rights movement? Actually, they're all being controlled by her, a mage, Excuse me, but only hunters have the taming ability, and it doesn't work on Ah, shut it, you nerd. They fight their way through and manage to escape by jumping into a river. Judges? Yep, they're dead. The rebels take Arthur back to their base, where they tell him that they want Arthur to use Excalibur and lead the fight against Judith. But Arthur doesn't want to get involved, and even if he did, he still passes out whenever he picks up the sword. The mage tells him that it's because he's
Resisting the sword.
because of his childhood trauma. In order to get over them, Arthur needs to go and face his fears in the Dark Lands. Ooh, an epic journey for a dark magical land with trials and monsters that will lead our hero to growth and maturity. Fucking montage story told out of order. Yeah, kinda killed the vibe there. But at the end of it, we see what actually happened the night his parents got murdered, and here was where we go, fucking aye mate, look at that fucking cape! And he's got a sword, it's a double sword! Holy—
Stop shouting and napping!
Oh, sorry, I just really like that cape. So we learned that the masked fighter with the most epic cape known to man was actually Law all along. So now, it's personal. With his newfound motivation, Arthur sets up a trap for Judinio in Londinium to kill him. But Law is all like, yo dog, I heard you like traps, and traps the rebels within his own trap. Jesus, there were so many traps in that last sentence you'd think DJ Snake produced it. The rebels attempt to escape, which leads them to Kung Fu George's training camp. The Blacklegs surround them, and when all hope seems lost, Arthur readies Excalibur and... Fucking A, mate. They manage to escape via the river, again, but the mage and one of the guys gets caught by the Blacklegs, and one of Arthur's childhood friends gets killed by Law himself. So now, it's even more personal. In his grief, Arthur throws away Excalibur in a lake. However, you can't just give up a soulbound item, and the Maiden of the Lake gives it back to him via puddle magic. She also gives Arthur a vision of the horrible future that awaits England should he not defeat Vortigern.
My name's Jerry right trick. I ain't here to take no I'll say
that David Cameron, Prime Minister of the UK, once put his in a dead pig's mouth. And look, this is just the word of a single sword.
So, with his newfound motivation, Arthur decides to attack the castle and end it once and for all. They trade Excalibur for the mage, and before the final fight, the mage tries to help Arthur overcome his mental blocks. Haven't we been here before? I feel like we've been here before.
I don't like snakes.
No one likes snakes.
I beg your pardon? He lets himself be bitten, and this is where we see just how much of a badass Arthur is. So, he's going to face off against Vortigern and his army with no backup or Excalibur, all the while he's high out of his fucking mind on snake venom. Seriously, big-breasted women are coming out of the trees, all the guards turn into Death Knight Vortigerns, and this mofo is still riding into Camelot like, "Sup, wenches?" Now that's gangster. And then you also add this theme song to the scene?
Oh, brother dear, let my bed be made. Right field, right.
Fucking A, mate! Arthur gets brought before Law, who, just out of spite, kills one of the mage's snakes from the room, getting the sword stuck in the stone wall. Heh, irony. But wait, there's more, because that was just little baby snake. Holy shit, this mage can just summon a basilisk? That seems like it could have been useful in the last 2 decades. How the hell did Vortigern kill the mages when they could do stuff like this? I mean, fucking A, mate, but still. Arthur takes his sword back and goes into the courtyard to deliver an ass whooping like you've never seen before. Fucking A, mate!
Another one.
Fucking A,
Another
mate!
one.
Fucking A,
And another one. And another one. Another one. Another one. Another one. And another.
I don't know about you, viewer, but this is the point where I think the joke has gone on far enough. It's time to retire that old horse. Plus, the movie is coming to an end, and the hype is just not enough to keep me interested. So anyway, Arthur goes to the tower to face off against Law one last time and... oh god. The cape. Fucking A, mate! Back to the video. Arthur initially Arthur initially loses, but the snake venom finally kicks in and he gets this vision trip where he decides to save his father, becoming worthy of fully wielding the sword's power. Yeah, I don't get it either, but it leads to this, so I don't care!
You wanted to know what gave me such drive?
Nope, sorry, no one cares, just get back to the fighting. Vortigern gets beaten once and for all, Arthur brings down the tower with just a grip of his sword, and then goes on to become the new King of England, and officially creating the Knights of the Barely Started Pizza. To be honest, I'm a bit disappointed in King Arthur Legend of the Sword. As I've subtly pointed out, the action and visuals are pretty good, the editing is fast and enjoyable, and some of the dialogue is actually funny at times. But the story is really overly complicated, confusing, and not to mention recycled from itself. You don't care for any of the characters because they're all just kinda meh, and there's just too much of nothing in between the actual good moments to make it worthwhile. If you're with a couple of friends and you're all bored and drunk, I'd say put it on, enjoy the spectacle, and make fun of everything else, but I can't recommend it outside of that. In terms of rating, I give it 6 Jude Laws screaming in agony. Now, if you'll excuse me, there's a jar of honey with my next name on it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.